So hi, today I have here with me Bob McAuley, who is a wool worsted fabric expert who has been traveling into England and Italy, Korea, Japan, China, India, wherever worsted fabrics have been getting made for the past 35 years. So the first thing that I want to learn from you, Bob, is wherever you travel to whichever mills you go to, you are always presented with hundreds and thousands of fabrics that is put in your hands for you to judge and figure out what it is or how it is. So what is it that you exactly look for in fabrics that come to your hand? What exactly are you looking for in terms of characteristics and features for a good fabric?
Well, the first thing that people would think is how the fabric feels. However, there's a lot more that goes into a fabric and the quality of a fabric than just that. I was taught that before even touching a fabric, that you look at the fabric, how it sits on a table, because the drape and the fluidity of the fabric is very important in how the final product in the garment is going to be made. So there's the components of the product, which are the main characteristic of wool is that it breathes, it's very comfortable, it has a natural elasticity. So the type of wool that is used in a product is very important. The construction and how packed you make the fabric or how loose you make a fabric is extremely important. At the end of the day, you want a fabric that feels great and that is drapes very well, so that when the garment maker or the tailor makes up his product, it tailors up perfectly and looks great on the consumer.
Yeah. I actually know of one buyer who whenever he's presented with a fabric, he's always sort of putting his two thumbs at the back of the fabric and is trying to slip the fabric. So he's basically looking for the construction in terms of how strong the fabric is in terms of a seam slippage. So what else?
So to get the best possible one in construction and the tear strength and all that, it depends on the twist of the yarn and how you set it up in the fabric.
Right.
So if you set it up too loose, it's going to open up and it's going to give you seam slippage. If you put it up too tight, then the fabric's going to be too boardy and it won't give you a good performing fabric. So it's a very technical aspect of how you combine the yarn size, the twist of the yarn, and the setup in the fabric that you make to give it a perfectly functional fabric.
What do you see as the trend for 25-26 for premium suiting fabrics in India, in Asia in particular, and globally? What do you think is the trend?
As compared to other years, there seems to be a global trend that is in the same direction. The patterns are really more conservative, tone on tone, basic patterns, herringbones. In India, certainly stripes are starting to come back, which is different from maybe other markets.
Yep.
But again, they're more traditional, classic stripes. But it's certainly a more conservative looking aspect to design as opposed to really flashy patterns that have been selling in the past.
Would you say that there is a shift towards classic English as compared to Italian? How do you see it? I mean, what do you see as regards colors and patterns?
Yeah, it's definitely more classic to more the English-looking type of products, whatever. So when you're talking about stripes, the English are still strong in stripes, and chalk stripes, bead stripes, and pin stripes. So those are all, but they're not flashy, which means they're not colored stripes. They're more traditional with the white stripe on classic ground colors. So, but that's those are some of the directions that seem to be happening this coming season.
Right. In the last about 5 years, how has social media impacted the design team's workings?
Well, certainly it has, and I could have mentioned that also, is that Instagram, people who are following that and follow fashions, follow celebrities, whether it's sports or movies, are always looking to what they're wearing and they're always interested in looking like them. So very often you have customers going to stores showing an Instagram picture and saying, I want this, I want that. So what makes it difficult for people like us is that's fast fashion, and how do you get something that somebody walks into a store and it shows you a picture, and how you translate that to something that you haven't designed yet. So that's why we have to stay on top of the Instagram, the social media aspect as well, to make sure that we try to incorporate as much of that into our collections as possible.
Right. To people in the worsted trade, the worsted industry, they do have an idea in terms of how new colors and new designs are made. But to a layman, how would you explain how the sampling process or the design process happens?
So there's different ways to produce fabric. So there's the simple way to explain it is the pattern fabric that is made by yarn dye or top dye, and then there's another process which is a piece dye.
Right.
So the piece dye method of making is that you take white fabric and you dye into a color. So usually you can do that a lot faster than you do a top dye or yarn dye. Yarn dye means you're dyeing the yarns and you're putting different color yarns together, so that requires a much longer process. And then we look at doing it both ways. So more and more now there seems to be a direction into a piece dye, which is a faster method of production. The reason that I explain to my people or the people that I talk to is that I call it the instant gratification as thing is when you have a customer come to the store, he wants something today. It's the Amazon effect, as that you buy it today, you get it tomorrow. So it's very difficult to do that in textiles when you're making, but maybe in the piece dye category, it's something that we'll be able to address in the future and certainly supply more fashion colors in a quicker delivery time than we have in the past.
Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you, Mr. Marley.